Good morning, guys and girls. Hope everyone is doing well. What I wanted to do is just do a bit of a recap and a follow-on from last Sunday night's webinar. Actually show you some of the markets we were discussing for the week ahead and how they're progressing, and give you an idea of also some of the trades that we've taken this week already. At the minute, the one you can see right now, GBP USD, is a market that we have placed a buy on, and that was early this morning. So far so good, heading towards our target 1 and hopefully then heading towards our target 2, currently sitting about 20 pips up. Now, what I discussed on the webinar on Sunday was a couple of different markets. It was the dollar index, gold, Aussie dollar USD, Euro USD, Aussie dollar CAD, and GBP Aussie dollar. So I'm just going to go through these ones with you now and actually show you just what we're looking at the minute. So regarding the dollar index, okay, one of the key things that I did mention that we are currently sitting in this kind of trapped range, okay, in this trapped range. Which, as you can see, I've kind of highlighted on here. And this week so far, not a lot of movement, just a lot of kind of up down volatility, nothing too much in terms of direction. But what I do see occurring and potentially happening now is that kind of rejections occurring around this 93 level, which I did discuss last week. So if we look on the hourly chart and we just actually have a little look at the price action currently, what we are doing is we're kind of reaching these 93 levels, 93.1, 93.15, and rejecting multiple times, kind of almost faking these downward movements. And I think what's actually required for this market to drop, okay, is a nice push and a pickup of sellers, okay, and this will occur likely around these kind of regions, these 93.25 maybe at a push, okay, which is one of our key levels. And I think then we're going to start to have that continued decline on the dollar. Now, the reason I'm still bearish on this is just simply the pure price action that we are seeing at the moment and the structure within this market. Okay, so what we can see currently is we are creating lower highs. Okay, we are creating lower lows, and we are just heading in this sort of downward channel right now. And therefore, I do believe that if we are going to continue this downward movement, we're just going to pop up into these regions, this 93.2 maybe, before we actually find a lot of sellers to actually drive this market down and make a new lower leg. Okay, if we jump down onto the daily time frame, okay, what we'll see on this daily time frame is where we could potentially drop to next before we have to see how we react. Okay, and those kind of levels for me will be around that 92, okay, around this sort of 92.1, 91.9, so sort of 20 pip range. Okay, so that's the kind of move that I can see potentially happening with regards to the dollar index. Okay, we're then going to jump onto gold. Okay, I did discuss gold last week as well, and for this I'm just going to jump on the smaller time frames to give you an idea of what's happened this week so far. Now, these levels are all highlighted. Okay, all these levels were highlighted in the webinar that we did on Sunday. And as you can see at the moment, Monday, Tuesday has gone by, and really we are just ranging. We are pretty much in a 100 to 150 pip range right now, finding a lot of resistance around 1910 as discussed, and also just not really being able to break those kind of 1896s, 1895 level at the minute. Now, it really, the direction of gold and the way that this market is going to move is going to be highly dependent on the dollar and what the dollar is doing. Okay, so with regards to where we are right now, we do need to wait for either a break, okay, of these kind of 1910, 1911, 1912 levels before potentially looking for that next strong leg to the upside. Okay, strong leg to the upside. And vice versa, if the dollar does decide to actually strengthen, then yeah, potentially we can see this market come all the way back down into the lows of around 1880s, 1875s. I don't really favor that movement personally. I do favor the upside movement into the 1930s again. But again, we just need to wait and see, because as you can see, we've got some clear resistance around this level, this 1910, 1912 level. Okay, market has been unable to sort of hold above this level for quite a few weeks now. So that's gold. At the minute, not too much movement, just rejecting the upside on this. and what we'll do is we'll just have to wait and see whether or not we can actually get that sustained break of this level. Okay, next market I discussed was Aussie dollar USD. Okay, so Aussie dollar USD. Now, as you can see, the arrow is still there from last week. Okay, we were sitting around 7,130. Again, not too much movement. Not too much movement on this pair just yet. We are still bullish. We are still heading for the upside, and currently just finding a little bit of resistance. Okay, around that 7,150 level. We did mention, obviously, there was this level here, okay, which is quite interesting for looking for these long opportunities. And since Monday, we have dropped into that level and rejected three or four times. So we've had quite a few opportunities for long positions on this market. Now, Mondays and Tuesdays are normally a day where the market's a little bit quieter for us. We prefer to kind of let the markets wake up before we actually look at placing positions. But a simple strategies around here in terms of looking at going along is waiting for this to be rejected. Okay, we rejected it here on the 26th at 9 a.m. We rejected it here on the 26th at 8 p.m. And we rejected it again early hours of this morning as well. And then we've had that nice strong push. So again, it's all going to depend on DAXI and when DAXI is ready and the US dollar is ready to drop. Okay. But certainly we can see that potential movement coming up into the 7.2s next. 7.210 is my kind of top end target here. Anywhere kind of 7.2 would be something I'd be interested in. And obviously where we are right now and seeing the price action at the minute, we've had that little breakout. We've had those higher highs and higher lows creeping in. And now what we could potentially be doing is just actually retesting this level before actually heading higher. Okay, so that's Aussie dollar USD. We also spoke about Euro USD. Now my top end target on Euro USD, where are we? My top end target on Euro USD is up here, so these kind of 1.20 levels. And where we are right now is actually quite a nice opportunity to be looking for longs, although at the minute the bearish pressure is stronger. Now this week so far, Euro has been relatively weak, which is why we're getting a little bit more value if we were to be looking at buying this. The area of interest, again, just to point it out for you, for me, would be anywhere around these regions here, waiting for this area to be taken out, rejected, and then potentially looking for those longs if the dollar is going to play nice this week. Okay, so looking at actually pushing this market up, breaking this kind of downward trend line that we've got here, and then actually taking out and heading towards those highs. Okay, and there's a lot of pips actually on the table there as well. So that's something to be looking at, something to be quite interested in. Euro USD. The only thing I don't like is Euro is quite weak at the moment, which is why we have actually chosen GBP USD for our long position so far today. We are getting a little bit of rejections and resistance around that 3050 level. But hopefully the GBP can come through strong and the US dollar can come through relatively weak, and that will push us up into these kind of levels of 1.31 on GU. Okay, so this is a trade that we've got in play at the moment. So far it's looking all right. Very small stop loss, 30 odd pips or so, and just a relatively good target of around 50-55 pips. Okay, so that's where we're looking at with GBP USD right now. Again, we just need that dollar to weaken. We just need that dollar to kind of find that resistance and find all of these sellers that are going to be sitting around these levels, which will then drive this market down to the lows of this range again. And that should secure that GBP USD for us. So we're currently sitting about 15 pips in profit on GBP USD. Now the other ones that I mentioned last week, now this one's going to frustrate me because we actually had a position on this yesterday. We are completely transparent here at the trading field. We will always show you our winners, show you our losers, and show you when we're completely wrong, show you when we're very, very unlucky. And this was a situation of being extremely unlucky. So with regards to Aussie dollar CAD, my expectation as per the video on Sunday was that we can actually start to push up on Aussie dollar CAD into the 0.95 region. Now, we perhaps were a little bit early taking a position on this last night. We got stopped out by about 5 pips before the market actually flew up, hit our T1, and actually became 2 pips away from our T2 level as well. So just very, very unlucky on there. Now, if you remember correctly, what I was talking about on this was a very, very simple pattern, which was our head and shoulders. Okay, our head and shoulders pattern on here. Now we've got the, where are we? Let me just find the right tool. So we've got the shoulder, okay, that's come in. We've got the head that's come in, and then we've got the other shoulder. Okay, with perfect bit of structure there. Okay, we've then got our neckline, okay, and our neckline is going to come across here. We've then had a breakout, and this is really textbook. This is we've had a breakout and push just above the 9.4 level. We've then rejected back down, a little bit of a retracement before actually picking up the buyers and really taking off on this market. So we were extremely unlucky with this one. The bias, the direction was right, and I do think that providing the dollar moves the way that I believe it will move, I believe that we'll be heading up to the 0.95 levels with Aussie dollar CAD in the next few days. And then finally, the only other market that I was discussing, okay, was Aussie dollar, GBP Aussie dollar, okay, GBP Aussie dollar. So with regards to GBP Aussie dollar right now, we actually did have that move that I discussed coming up, rejecting these on the 26th, sorry. Yeah, coming up, rejecting these levels, rejecting these 0.83 levels, okay, multiple rejections yesterday as well, before actually dropping and heading down about 70-80 pips or so. Now, GBP is quite, I believe GBP could be quite strong this week, and the only reason that this market is actually moving down is because Aussie dollar is actually very, very strong. That said, the analysis was correct. We were rejecting around that 0.83 level, and we've come now as low as 0.82 through 30, which is 70 pips. Okay, so a nice 70 pip move there. Now I'd probably be a little bit cautious. If we were in this position, to be honest, from 0.83, we would be out already. That move would have been more than enough for us to be happy with, looking at sort of 60, 70 pips or so. But do I think this will continue? Again, yeah, I do believe we can push a little bit lower, potentially into that 1.82 level. The only thing is GBP is quite strong right now, and therefore I wouldn't be personally taking that position myself. So they're the markets that we covered in the webinar, and this is how they're playing out so far this week. So Aussie dollar USD currently still long, moving nicely. Euro USD giving you a good opportunity to go long now. Gold just ranging. Aussie dollar CAD, the head and shoulders, is playing out absolutely perfectly. We were extremely unlucky with that one. Nothing that can be done, but as you can see, the analysis and the bias was completely correct. And GBP Aussie dollar as well, perfect. 1.83 rejections, and then push down into the lows. More than enough to secure 1.5 to 2.5 risk reward, depending on what your stop loss would have been. So overall successful so far. We did actually have a trade yesterday, which I'll just show you, USDJPY. This one was worked out very, very nicely. Let me just get rid of this stupid tool. Yeah, this one worked out very, very nicely as well. Just nice and simple. Push up into that 105 level. Again, just remember these psychological levels, okay, are so important. 105, nice big rejection. Wait for the trend line, cross and retest. Boom, we then drop. We found a nice opportunity to enter this market here, and we secured ourselves 1.5 to 2 units or so on USDJPY. And again, it's just looking at that structure and noticing that we are still creating these high, low, okay, lower high, lower low, and boom, lower high, okay. And that one was perfectly sitting on 105.00, and really, really nice psychological level. And on the hourly chart, where would this market be looking at potentially going to? Well, the first thing would be 104. Okay, 104. So we can potentially see this market easily coming down to 104. Psychological level, previous support, a lot of synchronization, and depending on the dollar move, then we could go a lot deeper. We could start looking at the 103.5. We could start looking at the 103. Although you just don't really need to. You don't really need to be holding these positions for that long. You really don't need to be holding these positions for that long. The longer time you're in the market, the more risk you have on the table. It's much better to just be in and out of these trades. Take profits, find that movement, find that perfect entry. Similar to this one that we got here, perfect entry. Okay, 105.5 again, nice psychological level down into the liquidity and into the previous area of support, and done. Like, no need to hang on, and then you can start looking for your next opportunity to short that market. So guys, I hope that helps. Regarding the rest of the markets that we've got right now, let me just have a quick look. Indices are collapsing right now, which I'm sure is due to a lot of this COVID nonsense that's going about. Aussie dollar USD looking long, Euro USD looking potentially like we could have a long move. USD CAD, not too interested in that. I'm just flying through these for you. Aussie dollar CAD nearly hit our T2, which is extremely frustrating. I'm just seeing if there's anything else of interest. Euro Aussie was a very nice short yesterday. We didn't actually take it. We were about 5 pips away from placing a trade on there before it actually rejected a little bit earlier than we thought. Euro GBP was a very nice short yesterday as well. Rejections around that 0.91 level and now down driven into the lows. Nice perfect trade, 60-70 pips or so. Happy days. Euro JPY has been falling hard, so Euro is quite weak. And regarding GBP, I think GBP is about to strengthen and gain some strength for the rest of this week. So let's see. GJ different though. JPY is very strong so far this week, so we need to see if that's going to change first. NZD is also very strong this week as well. So not too many options and not too many markets on the cards personally. Gold will be interesting, certainly one to watch. Euro USD, certainly one to watch. Obviously DAXI in general to try and grab that next dollar move. And Aussie dollar CAD, if we were lucky enough to be able to grab another entry on this, maybe a pull down into 0.9410, we could actually then look at getting a 50-60 pip long on that market as well. So that's it, guys. That wraps it up. I hope you find it useful, and any other questions, please feel free to send us a message. Have a good rest of the week.